Hey everybody, Nathan Baird from Indy Star here, another coaching search diary. I didn't even reach out to Sam because it is really late at night. Just got done watching the end of a pretty thrilling Big Ten championship game. I thought Penn State gave Oregon a run, but that's not what you guys want to hear about. Just posting this because I want something to be up in the morning when people wake up, but we think that this is going to probably be decided very shortly. The Purdue football coaching search. I think we may have the identity of this person possibly before tip off tomorrow, the Purdue Maryland basketball game at noon. So it's going to be a busy day potentially in West Lafayette. I don't know that for sure, but that's just the indications right now are headed that way. I know that Tom Dienhart from Golden Black first reported that there's a team meeting tomorrow afternoon, I believe 2:00. And that's further indication. Every player on the team, it seemed, or the ones that are still left on the team that aren't in the portal right now. I didn't check to see if it was some of the portal guys too, but a number of players tweeting out the googly eyes, tweeting out train emojis, like something's going on. They know something's going on, and we all know something's going on. I know Barry Odom from UNLV, Missouri before that, is maybe the name that I would put the most smoke around at this point. It's a name that when I reach out to people who are connected or tangentially connected to Purdue, that's the name that comes back the most. Maybe the name that comes back with sort of any semblance of certainty right now. I don't know that for sure yet. I'm not going to report that is the case because we haven't confirmed that for sure. But that's a name that has just been building steam. And if that is the case, I think he checks some of the boxes that Mike Bobinski was laying out on Monday. I don't know that he necessarily checks all of them, and will have to prove himself in some regards. As I was talking to Sam the other night, I'm a little bit this whole time it made complete sense to bring someone up from the group of five level, right? And you're unlikely to steal a sitting head coach away from a true power conference program. I still floated the idea out there that there were some guys that they could have gone after because they could give them raises, and Purdue spends more than those programs do. However, if you start looking at things like the playoff, more realistic maybe to be in the Big 12 or the ACC and try to get that one spot as opposed to, or sometimes two. It looks like the ACC might get two spots here the way SMU played tonight, as opposed to trying to really thread the needle and do what Indiana did this year, which is have like your greatest season of all time with the perfect schedule that lines everything up and it all works out perfectly. So group of five always made more sense. The one real hesitation I've had about that, though, has been because of the NIL world. And I know it's going to change again with revenue sharing come in, and maybe that is more of an equalizer, and you don't have to be as crafty next fall as you need to be right now. It does just make me wonder, like, will a group of five coach step right in and be up to speed on NIL and be aggressive with it and know how to handle it at this level and have the staff that knows how to handle it at this level? But NIL is still such a thing that's moving beneath our feet constantly, that maybe getting too specific with that is overthinking it a little bit. And I also talked to someone who has coached at both the Big Ten level and the Group of Five level, and they said, when you have learned to do with less in a lot of ways, or you're not used to having it easy, basically, then that can be an asset for you when you're moving up a level. And that may be true of this coach. So if it is Odom, it's going to be interesting to see whether or not he also brings along his offensive coordinator, who is, because Barry Odom is a defensive background as a coach. If his offensive coordinator comes with him, his name is Brennan Marion, and they run a very, what they call a go-go offense. It's very up-tempo. It is using a lot of formations, multiple multiple running backs on the field at the same time, sort of a downhill rushing attack. There hasn't been a super explosive offense, but it's been a good offense. They were 44th in the nation in yards per play last season. That jumped up to 29th. So like a top 30 offense this year in yards per play, which I think is a better metric than just going by total yards or total rushing yards. Those are sometimes an indication of how much you did something, not how well you did something. And 6.35, it's okay. It's not elite. But if I have said all along that I think they need to get someone who isn't just an offensive background or brings in the right kind of coordinator, but you got to do something that is your wrinkle. Purdue needs a wrinkle, I think, on offense, because that's what's worked the best in the past for them. When you look at proof of concept at Purdue, it tends to come with some kind of offensive wrinkle, and maybe this kind of offense could be that wrinkle. It would maybe be going a little bit away from what people most historically associate with Purdue. But I think people would rather just associate winning with Purdue than anything else right now. And there is where there is some more correlation to what Mike Levinsky was talking about on Monday, because Barry Odom took over a UNLV program that was nothing. Like they had been, I think it was they had. I think they may have not had a program before like 1978. That's as far back as the Sports Reference site goes. But they'd only had 2 seasons since between 1978 and 2022 where they won more than 8 games. And then he wins 9 last year and 10 this year and gets them to the Mountain West Championship game both times, lose to Boise State both times, the kind of the crown jewel of that conference. But they also played a 9-win Syracuse game and took the team and took them to overtime this year. So I'm going pretty long on Barry Odom just because that's the name that has just seemed to gain the most momentum as we come here down to the line. There was a point at which I thought maybe Jeff Monken made some sense. If you really want to get into the flight aware stuff, there was a flight from White Plains, New York into Lafayette tonight. So you always, we have over time kind of phased that out of how much importance you put on that because frankly, the teams are so savvy about it, the schools, but definitely piqued my interest when I saw that, at least momentarily. Chuck Martin is a name that Sam and I talked about the other night, because when I looked at all of those candidates, he was the one that I thought was the most Signetti-ish. And even though Purdue would never say it wanted its own Signetti, Mike Babinski, I don't think would ever say that. But if you are looking for that model, I thought he fit that model a little bit. And then Tyson Helton, eternally in the mix from Western Kentucky, it seems like. And it'll be nice when some of these guys get big jobs in the next 6-7 years, maybe, because if Purdue has to do another coaching search, it'll be nice to cross some of these names off and go with some new ones, because I think a lot of these names, I know from talking to Sam, some of these names were rehashes since Purdue just had to do this 2 years ago. But third head coach in 4 years, and we could know something by the time anybody's even seeing this. I'm putting this up pretty late Saturday night because I just wanted to keep looking around and texting around and seeing if anything has shaken loose. And that's the best that we know of at this point. And obviously, we've always kind of expected this timeline to work out. That kind of in the back of my mind, I always thought, word leaks on Sunday. Maybe they make an official announcement on Sunday, and we have a press conference on Monday, and it's just you're off and going, because then now you're literally jumping into the portal on Monday when everything opens. That's always been the day that I thought they really needed to target, was to have somebody in place by Monday. And there is a men's basketball game. Could they make a big splash and introduce someone at the men's basketball game? Wouldn't shock me, but I'll be there. Sam will be there. And as soon as we know more, you'll know more. Follow us on Twitter at NW Baird, at Samuel T. King, jconline.com, indystar.com. We will let you know as soon as we know the identity of Purdue's next football coach. Thanks for listening.